Shore Break Sounds.
Welcome to Over the Falls podcast, episode number 61. This week we're joined by Welsh international runner Adam Bitchell. We talk about his journey from Aberystwyth to the Commonwealth Games, life as a college athlete in the US, chasing PBs, tough training sessions, and the sacrifices it takes to compete at the highest level. This week's episode is sponsored by Morris Brothers Kitchens Limited. They're a third generation, family-run business with 70 years of experience, supplying and installing kitchens in Aberystwyth and the surrounding areas. They pride themselves on providing tailored kitchen solutions with a personal touch. Find them on Portland Road in Aberystwyth or give them a call on 01970 617 377.
Adam, do you mind if we start with your running journey? So,
No.
Were you good in school?
I was, yeah. Good, not great. So I was always competitive. And obviously I played football from a young age because my dad was manager of my teams for most of my childhood.
Yeah.
And I did cross country in primary school, I remember. But I still tell the story now. First few races I ever did, I intentionally ran at the back because I wanted to talk to everyone. I just thought it was a social thing.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I would slow myself down and so I could just chit chat to people along the way. It was crazy. And then I started taking it more seriously throughout secondary school. So by the time I left Penwethig, which is where I went to school, I think I was pretty good at that point. Yeah. But I would say I developed relatively quickly in terms of I didn't take it that seriously because I still thought of myself as a footballer for a long time.
Right.
And probably until I was 14, 15, 16. So that's really when I switched from football to running, specifically, and dropped football. But up to that point, I wouldn't say I was a great runner. I was a good athlete overall.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a great runner necessarily. Yeah.
Were you in Aber Running Club and things like that then?
Yeah, I ran for Aberystwyth for a long time. So going back to when I was playing football, Dick Evans, one of the local running coaches, everybody knows Dick. You know?
Yeah.
He kind of scouted me a little bit. I think he saw me play football a few times and said, you got a good engine, why don't you come and try out and run with us? So joined the Aber Uni running group is what it was back then. Dick and his brother Cliff kind of ran the group. And so I ran with them for a few years, and that's when I started to see more success because he gave me a structured plan to start following. But again, that was probably 13, 14, 15 maybe was when I really started to break through a little bit, I would say. But it's not to say that I hadn't done running before that, because I said, I started in primary schow but just never really took it seriously until that point.
Okay.
Dick's running sessions were tough.
Yeah.
I've done a few.
Yeah, he's old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think you've come to your limit,
Yeah.
and then you'll do another half an
Yeah.
hour, you've got nothing left.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's he was a legend. He's the one that gave me my start in running,
Yeah.
But yeah, we always tell the stories. He'd show up half an hour late for some of the sessions. Wouldn't bat an eyelid. Just walk in. And just say, I'm here now, so this is when the session starts. Everybody else is standing around. It's 7 o'clock at night in December. I got school in the morning, and he didn't care.
No.
But then every session he did was rigid, structured, planned, and then he got the best out of so many people that were in that group. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Oh, fair play though. Or was it quite hard to give up the football? Did you love playing the football?
No, that was one of the hardest decisions of my childhood. And it's funny because my dad, Colin, I would say he pushed me away from football, if anything, which you'd expect the opposite because he was my coach and my manager. So you'd expect him to kind of push me and funnel me down into football, but I think he could see the potential that I had in running as well.
Right, okay.
So he pushed me more towards running, and I was kind of being stubborn and didn't want to go that way. But yeah, like I said, 14, 15, 16 was when I kind of gave up football and focused specifically on running. And to this day, that's one of the best decisions I've ever made, career-wise, early on.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I always say, my dad, he pushed me the opposite way, if anything, to where I wanted to go. And I'm grateful for it now because obviously he knew better, Yeah.
How much of it is hard work and talent?
I think a lot of it is natural talent. I think just natural talent in terms of being a good athlete, I don't think it's necessarily really specific talent to running itself. I think if you're a good athlete, you can be a really good runner, because you see it a lot. People will transition from football or swimming into running relatively late, and then they have a lot of success. And running's a pretty simple sport when you think about. There's not a lot to it in terms of technique or, you know, a lot of skill behind it. So I think you can be successful in running no matter how early or late you start or kind of get into it, you know. But from that point, then a lot of it is hard work. And like a big part of, like, I think it was subconscious, but the reason I went into running was because it's individual. So like you're in control. Whereas in football, for example, like you're not dependent on your team a lot of times, you know. And I think, like, going back to my dad, I think he could see that a lot, where it's like you're growing up in Aber, you're maybe not getting the exposure that a lot of other kids do around the country. You're not getting the type of competition or games that a lot of people do around the country. Whereas in running, you're in control of it. So you can travel to races, you can control how much training you do, you can control how hard you work. And that's a big part of it, is then that individual drive and determination to be successful. Yeah.
Do you remember the first sort of race that you travelled to, probably with your dad or anywhere? Do you remember?
Yeah, like him and my mum, they were unbelievable growing up, just in terms of the amount of time and hours they put into taking me to races. Again, I mean, there's nothing around here, you know. No. So you grow up in Aber and you've got to travel almost anywhere to get to a race. So there was something called the UK Cross Challenge, where they had 4 or 5 races around the UK, and all the best kids from the UK would like convene and race against each other with cross country races. So we'd go like Nottingham. 2-3 weeks later we'd go to Belfast. Then 2 or 3 weeks later we'd go to like Newcastle, and like every single race without fail they would take me there, you know. So like I'll never be able to like repay them for how much time and effort they put into taking me and exposing me to these races. But that was the first one I remember where I started to break through a little bit, was the UK Cross Challenge and being exposed to like UK level of talent, you know, because obviously I'd raced within Wales and around Wales, but until you go outside of Wales you don't realise the scope of how, like, you know, how deep the level of competition is.
How big was the jump then when you went from the Welsh races to like the UK
huge.
Races? Big jump, was it? Big shock
because I was
system?
one of the best runners in Wales at that point, you know, and you think, well, I'm one of the best runners in Wales, okay, I must be doing pretty well. And then you get exposed to the amount of athletes that come out of England, Scotland and Ireland, and it's mind-blowing, yeah.
But I guess it takes you up a level.
It does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I guess you've got no choice, have you?
It's like fight or flight.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you can either kind of fold under the pressure and the competition and give up, or you can dig in, work harder, use it as motivation, which I think that's what I did. And then you just strive to get yourself closer and closer to that level, yeah. And that's kind of what I've done throughout my running career, honestly, because there have been steps along the way where it's like, it's pretty vivid and distinct, where it's like, okay, that was a big step up. That was a big step up. I remember it, whether it was a race or whether it was like a training session or like moving to a certain place. There are certain steps along the way that are like really distinct, and I remember clearly as being, this is me at the next level now, you know.
What sort of distances were you running sort of like early on when you were travelling to these locations, you know, Belfast or Nottingham or whatever? What kind of distances were you doing?
I think it was like 5 or 6K. So, you know, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles maybe. And that would have been under 15, under 17. And then as you get up to the like under 19s, under 20s, then it goes to like 8K maybe. And then pretty standard that it's 10K once you get to like adult cross-country races at that level, you know. But
is that where the sweet spot was for you? Like what sort of distance did you feel was your strongest?
Yeah, like it's funny because like I went through all these different transitions. So obviously once I left Penwethig, went to Cardiff Met. So like that was another stepping stone for me in terms of upping it a level. I had better facilities, better athletes to train with. I changed coach, so that brought me on another kind of step and another level in terms of performance. And I always thought of myself as more of a middle distance runner, which is like 800 meters or 1500 meters. The more like trademark events you see at the Olympics that get a lot of the attention. And then kind of fast tracking, we'll probably talk about this more, but going out to New Mexico to college there on a scholarship, the coach out there transitioned me more to like 5 and a 10K runner. And obviously 10K is what I ended up running at the Commonwealth Games, which is what I consider to be like sort of pinnacle of my career.
Yes.
You know?
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
So I'd say I kind of transitioned up through the distances as I went up in ages too. Yeah.
Before we come on to the Commonwealth, how important were the coaches leading up to these? I mean, how important is it for you personally as a runner to have like a good coach?
It's huge. Like, there are some people that self-coach in running, but I think that's almost the hardest thing in the world to do, you know? So coaches just have a whole different perspective on things when you're a runner. And like I said, because it's an individual sport, you're so absorbed in it. It's so hard to take a step back and kind of reflect or look at, okay, good, bad, pros, cons, what's going well, what's not. So a coach's feedback is huge in that. And like I said, I went from Dick to a guy called Roger Davey down in Aberystwyth. So that was my last 1 or 2 years of school in Penwethig, transitioned to him. But again, we're talking about, I was running around a 300-meter grass track, or like the bus bay in Aberystwyth High School, the facilities we had were just non-existent, No. So then moving on, Cardiff Met was coached by a guy called James Thie, who was like a world medalist indoor in the 1500s. So he knew his stuff and he had experience in the sport. And then I had a guy called Joe Franklin when I went to New Mexico, and they all had different like qualities and different philosophies, but I got on great with all of them. And not only like in terms of a coaching relationship, but from a personal standpoint too, which I think is big, because again, you go back to running such an individual sport, you almost have to tap into the person a little bit, not just the athlete,
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Was there any particular training sessions which you absolutely hated?
Yeah, there was one. There was one in, and it's funny because like I brought my wife back here this week, and I'm driving back around the loops that I used to run.
Okay, yeah.
So I do like hill sprints up and down Cefn. And I look at it now and I'm like, that's mental. That is mental, But when we went to Cardiff, we had a session. It was called the Kenyan Hill Sprints. So sprint up a 300-meter hill, run back down in the same time plus 30 seconds. So you're basically not getting much recovery, and you repeat for half an hour. So
half an hour?
Continuous up and down, 30-second difference between the time that you go up and the time you come down, non-stop. Yeah. So just turn around, go, turn around, back, repeat for 30 minutes.
I can imagine those people being sick in those sort of sessions.
Yeah, and we used to do that up at Castellcoch. Yeah. But
I know.
It was absolutely brutal. Yeah. And then obviously in New Mexico, lived at 5,000 feet of altitude.
Yeah.
So that's a completely different ball game,
How did it come about then, the move from Cardiff Met to, were you scouted? Was it grades? What was it?
Yeah, it's called recruiting. So, like colleges in America, they started tapping into British athletes years before I went out there. But what they do basically, and a lot of the colleges and the universities will offer scholarship help for international athletes. So like the schools and the programs are actually getting financial assistance from the university, as opposed to kind of having to dish it all out themselves from the athletic program. The school's actually paying for those people to go over there a lot of time. So they just track your performances essentially. Yeah. So I think it was my second or my last year at Cardiff Met, started getting a few emails from colleges in the US. We've seen your performances. We're interested in you coming out here on a scholarship. Are you interested in pursuing it any further? And there was probably like 11, 12, universities that reached out of different levels. Some of them were good, some of them I'd never heard of. But that's kind of how the process starts. And then if you kind of communicate back to them and develop a bit more communication, then what happened with me was they actually sent an assistant coach over to recruit me in person. So one of the cross country races I did, they sent the University of New Mexico sent the assistant coach over to me to kind of speak to me and talk about, this is our plan for you, this is what New Mexico is like, would you be interested in coming? And then you kind of make a verbal commitment, and that's
cool.
it. Yeah.
Is that what sealed the deal then, the person coming over?
Yeah, I think so. Like I've said this to a lot of people, it just, for somebody to travel that far, and it wasn't just for me, obviously they see a few athletes when they're over here, but just for it to be a little bit more personable. The other thing was, there was like a pipeline of Brits that had already gone to New Mexico before I did. So I'd never been to the US in my life, but worst case, I knew that, hey, if I hate it or if I can't settle there, at least there are other people from the UK there that I may be able to kind of, develop a friendship or a relationship with.
What was the step up like going from Cardiff Met to New Mexico then? Was there another jump?
That was huge.
Was it?
That was the biggest one. Yeah, biggest one in my career, yeah. It's like, it's hard to put it into words or explain the collegiate system in the United States in terms of sports and how much money goes into it.
Yeah.
But like running for Cardiff Met, you run at the Bucks, the British Universities Championships, which is like considered the best or the pinnacle race in college. And I mean, there's like, there's some good athletes there. And there's maybe 10, 15, 20, guys at the front of the field who are a good level in terms of like UK. But after that, it's mostly like club runners. There's not much of an elite layer to it. You go to the US and you run at the National Collegiate Championships. Just to get there, it's an accomplishment. And there's something like 240 men running in this like NCAA cross country race. and they can all run under 14:30 for a 5K. So the standard is like insane. It's absolutely nuts. And if you like other sports, like track and field is not a big sport generally across the world. You know, it's not very well funded. It's not very well supported. You know, but like I live in Albuquerque now, so I go watch the University of New Mexico, the basketball team. Every player on the team is getting $250,000-$300,000 a year in something called NIL funding. So basically the school's funneling money for those players to get paid $300,000 a year just to turn up, take a university course and play basketball. And that's college. That's not even professional, you know? So that's like the level you're talking about in terms of the amount of money and resources that goes into collegiate athletics out there. So that step up was like, it was mind blowing. It was crazy. Yeah.
We don't really have anything like that over here, do we? Because I don't follow it a lot, but I've seen like D1 wrestling or NCAA where they got sprinter, and I've recently seen some 100-meter races of it as well. Yeah. And the level is insane. I mean, it's pretty much the level of some of the Olympic heats that you would see.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a guy who ran, I think he ran a 9.85 100 meters the other day.
Yeah.
And he was in college.
And he was I think he was around,
Mental.
I'm guessing 18, 19-year-old kid. The standard, as you say, the money that gets funneled into it, including the college, like American football scene over there as well.
Yeah.
It is crazy, isn't it?
But they get huge crowds, don't they? The American football is huge.
That's
crowds.
what drives it. Like Michigan University it's a football university.
Yeah.
They get 110,000 people every game. 110,000 for a university game.
That's bigger than the actual NFL, is it?
Yeah. So trying to put it into like perspective of imagine like Aber Uni having 50,000 people watching them. It's like that's basically what it is.
Why is it so heavy that way then? I don't understand.
I don't know. Honestly, obviously I think population based. I mean, there's a lot more people in the US, you know. But I don't know what drives the funding into college sports specifically. But it's just like it's spiraled out of control at this point, honestly. Because like when I was in college, when I went out to New Mexico, you had to declare whether you had like earned any money from running, and any money you'd earned, you had to pay it back to a charity before you got out there.
Oh right, okay.
And now we're paying guys 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. Like there's a guy he just got drafted to the NBA, Cooper Flag, first round coming out of college. He made 30 million last year in endorsements and like funding from his school. 30 million.
It's big
and
bucks,
he's a
isn't it?
university student. It's like,
The thing is, they're young as well.
Yeah.
What's he going
yeah.
He's just going to, unless he's got really good advice and he's got good people around him.
Yeah.
He's just going to blow it, like, you know?
Punt for people as well. Because I understand you can look at these kids or these young adults and you can think, they are unbelievable, but then there's always risks and they could get injured. The money is astronomical.
Yep.
Like I remember when they offered Michael Jordan when he came out of college. Like you've probably seen that, The Last Dance documentary was incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they gave him a shoe deal like really early into the NBA, and they paid him really handsomely going from, I can't remember what university he was with, but when he came over, it was like the money was insane, and that was in the 80s.
Exactly.
80s, yeah.
Exactly.
And he's done unbelievably well off those shoes.
Yeah.
I think he's a billionaire.
Unbelievable.
I think it's not a millionaire, he's a billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
I saw his jet the other day.
Smoking a big cigar at home, right?
And it was just like...
Quite happy.
Air Jordan 1 private jet. I mean, like, unbelievable. But it's just totally different world over there. What was I going to say? Like, so when you went over, what was the experience like when you sort of landed there and then you went to the first meet or the first workout? Like, what did that feel like?
It was crazy, yeah. So like I said, I'd never been to the US in my life. And it's not like I'm flying into New York or, like Orlando or somewhere that's a bit more populated with Brits or people who've been. I'm going to New Mexico, which is in the middle of the desert. Nobody knows where it is. Like, nobody's heard of it before. So I land in Albuquerque. It's like 10 o'clock at night. It's like 38 degrees. I get taken to this, like, my first 2 or 3 years, I stayed in the basement of this house. So, like, I get put down in the basement of this house. It's pitch black. Next day I wake up. Somebody gives me, like, a breakfast burrito with green chili on it, which, again, it's just foreign to me. I've never seen any of this stuff. Yeah. And then you go run, and again, you're at 5,000 foot altitude. And you don't realize how much that impacts you for the first few weeks. They say like there's an adaptation phase of 2-3 weeks before you kind of feel comfortable at that level. So I go in thinking I'm a fairly decent runner. I've run for Great Britain at this point. My last year at Cardiff Met, I'm getting dusted by these guys. These blokes who've just come out of high school who are at University in Mexico now. And I'm like, this is a whole different world. And obviously, like you adapt, you learn, like you it takes time for you to settle in, and then eventually you find your level and you progress. But it's like, it was hard to describe just how mind-blowing it was. Just completely different world. And like I said, Western culture, just totally different. Like, it's not like I went to California, it's not like I went to the East Coast. Like New Mexico is about like as traditional, and like, see the tumbleweed rolling through that, like that's Albuquerque.
Where is it? Say like on a map of America, like where, are you like in the middle? I can't.
Yeah, so you have Texas to the east. You have
to the right on a map. Yeah, if you're looking at Texas on a map, is it
to the left?
Oh, to the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's between Arizona and Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty close to the Mexican border. Yeah. So it's about 3-4 hours from El Paso, and El Paso is right on the border. Yeah.
I mean, I know like two things about Albuquerque. John Jones is from there, the famous UFC fighter.
Yeah, he is.
From Albuquerque, New Mexico, and obviously Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
That's what
I was thinking, Breaking Bad.
It's probably the only two things that I can immediately think of. And then I know it's like, altitude. It's very dry, isn't it?
It is.
It can be very cold in the winter, and it's very hot.
Like it has 4 seasons, but it is dry, yeah. But like, going back to Breaking Bad, like what you see on Breaking Bad, people think, well, it's just filmed in Albuquerque because it's a nice, like, it's a good place to film it with all the, the red rock. Breaking Bad is Albuquerque.
No way.
Like, it's bad in terms of the crime, the gangs, the drug dealers. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot that people don't know about Albuquerque that's bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things too, but like Breaking Bad, people just assume, oh, it was just filmed there. No, like that's to some degree a representation of what Albuquerque is. Like it's intense. Yeah.
How do you find living in America, considering you're from a small town in Wales? What is the culture shock? Did you
just
compared to living here?
I think like everything's just bigger. Yeah. It's like everything here but on steroids. Cars are bigger, portions are bigger, more access to everything, So yeah, like obviously I'm settled in now, and Albuquerque's like it's I think it's 1.5 million people. So it's a big city population wise, but it's spread out a lot. So I think of it as a kind of small place.
Yeah.
And like I've been there for a long time, so it feels like Aber now, where I'll go to the shop and I'll see somebody I know. I'll go for coffee and I'll see somebody I know, like it is here. You walk around Aber, it's the same thing.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just like the size of everything. Like I said, whether it's cars, portions, everything's just so much bigger. And to me, like everything it's like commercialized. It's marketed. Like Super Bowl. I hate the Super Bowl because I watch the NFL for like 17 games throughout the season. And then I get millions and millions of people who just tune in for the Super Bowl because they want to watch TV adverts at halftime, Like that's a big part of America there. It's like commercialized marketing, everything.
And the singers coming in at like, I don't know, halftime or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, gosh,
yeah.
Like every other NFL game, we have 15 minutes, halftime, turn around and go again. Super Bowl, it's like 45 minutes. Why are we doing that?
Is it?
Why?
Yeah.
Do you fully get the American football thing now you live in Albuquerque?
Yeah.
Is it like you watch it, you enjoy it?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan now, but like I never watched it before I went out there, but I got into it. Yeah.
How long do they last, the games?
About 3 or 4 hours.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's baseball's long as well, isn't it?
Baseball's long, yeah. I can sit down and watch American football for that long. I quite enjoy it. Basically, clock stops whenever the ball goes out of play.
Oh, okay.
So as opposed to like, I think rugby's the same. I think clock stops in rugby.
You're asking,
maybe,
possibly at some point.
But yeah, like baseball's just a lot slower. Like there's a lot more happening in American football. Yeah.
Right, going back to this sort of altitude situation that when you first came over, how long do you think it took you to sort of properly climatize to that altitude? Because it's sea level, Aberystwyth, obviously, and Cardiff.
Yeah.
I would say probably like 6 weeks before I felt comfortable doing the training at that altitude. And that's not to say my performances like skyrocketed at that point. It probably took me a year and a half before I felt like my performances justified the training I was doing. But like 4, 5, 6 weeks was when I feel like I settled in a little bit at that altitude. But like the first year of racing was a huge eye-opener because I was getting killed every race. I was finishing 60, 70, 80th in races that were just, 4, 5, 6 universities from America, So again, it was just the standard more than anything that it just made you raise your game and raise your level. And that's why you hear horror stories of people who've gone out to the US on scholarships and just completely flunked and completely like not failed, but like they just haven't been able to hack it because it's so competitive and so demanding. To me, it's like you either thrive in that or you completely sink.
What did it do for your confidence when you're coming that far down?
It was like It was nice in a way because I had, like, obviously my coach gave me some perspective, but also I saw, like, the people who'd moved out there with me that same year. They recruited a couple of other Brits that same year. They were also having, like, what we considered average performances, you know? So, like, I saw that they were finishing where I was, so it gave me peace of mind, you know? But it's like, how do you mentally prepare for that, you know? You go from, like, winning most races here or being competitive in most races here to finishing 60. I finished 60th at the NCAA cross country championships and I was pleased with it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, just the difference in level was crazy. Yeah.
So you were in the college for a couple of years, then you got called up to Wales to the Commonwealth, is that right?
Yeah, so left Cardiff Met, that was 2012, I think it was. 2012 through 2015, I was at University of New Mexico. And so, yeah, like the nice thing about being in America is you're exposed to so many more races where you can try and run the Commonwealth Games standard. So again, if you're an athlete training, living in the UK, you've kind of got to go around Europe looking for a race to try and run the standard, because obviously that's one of the criteria to make the Commonwealth Games team. Is
what was the time? What was the?
I think it was 29 minutes for a 10k back then, 29 flat. It's come down a lot since then.
It's quite quick, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'd never done a 10k in the track in my life. So the first 10k on the track that I did, I ran the standard, which was cool. Yeah, so I ran 28:50 in a race in California when that was in the selection criteria window. But first 10k I ever did on the track. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you find it
That's
easier
amazing
to run a 10k on the track as opposed to like on the road?
Yeah, I did. It's funny because, like, again, going back to, I had transitioned from like 800, 1500, 3k, 5k. So I had a lot of speed.
Yeah.
So then you go from running those races to running a 10k on the track, and it feels slow. It sounds crazy to say like 28 minutes feels slow, but it feels slow compared to what you're running.
Slower, obviously. Yeah.
Because, like, you know, I ran 3:59 in the mile, but then for the 10k I'm running 4:25 per mile. So that feels easy in comparison, you know? So I found the longer distances a lot easier as it went on because just the pace felt slower, you know? So
I kind of know what you mean. Even though I'm a very, very like novice runner, I've only been doing it recently, but I think something like a 5k is gross. If you're like, I don't know, like 80% of your capacity of effort for like around 20 minutes. Could be under, could be over. It doesn't matter what your time is, but the effort you're putting in, and then I guess a 10k for you is crazy, like under half an hour. Yeah. But still, it's like, it's hard. I mean, it's double the time, double the distance. Sorry.
I've got a couple of your PBs written down here. So you've done 3:59 in the mile.
Yeah.
3,000 meters was 8 minutes.
Yeah.
5,000 was 13:44.
Yeah, and I think that's still. I think that's still a Welsh record indoor. I think nobody's run faster.
Way.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
2013.
Your 10,000 then is 28:47. Yeah. I can compare my 5Ks. I know what a 5K's like, right? To do 13:44, 5,000 meters is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But again, it's like that's 15 years of training to get to that point.
Oh, I get that. Yes. I understand. But it's still, it baffles me that time.
And some natural talent, because I feel like I could definitely run for 15 years and get nowhere near that. Nowhere near that.
No
way.
Yeah, come back in 15 years and see. Yeah, let's do an experiment.
Well, I run in like 2 years. So I'll do
but the thing is, the 10,000 metres, your 28:47 is only 2 minutes slower than Mo Farah.
Yeah. Which, like,
it's pretty good.
To you, that probably sounds like a short amount of time. To me, that sounds like a huge amount of time.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Because like when you're in that running realm and you're talking about the elite level, like 5 seconds over a mile is an age. Like it's a life. If I run 4 minutes or I run 4:05, like one race is a disaster and one is like a good race, you know?
Okay.
So the margins are so small. It's like any sport at the top level. The better you get, the more, you know, like the margins shorten and become smaller. So yeah, like that race where I ran 28:47, I should have run 30 seconds faster, and like that's one of the regrets I still have in my career, you know.
In what way? Why do you regret?
So that was at the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
So I'd come off like a full collegiate. I'd finished, I think, 9th and 10th at the NCAA, the collegiate championships in America, indoor and outdoor, which was huge. Because if you make it to the indoor and outdoor championships, only 16 athletes make it indoors out of the whole country. Only 16 athletes make it to the championships.
Oh, wow.
And I was 9th. And then 10K, only 25 athletes are invited. Only 25 athletes out of the whole US collegiate system make it. And I finished 10th. So that was like huge for me.
That's massive.
That's the year that I ran at the Commonwealth Games too. So I was in really, really good shape, good fitness. And James Thie, my coach at the time, told me I think a good plan would be to run with the Scottish athlete Andrew Lemoncello, his name was.
Okay.
I said, okay. I said, I think there's an English guy called Johnny Mellor who he'd run like close to 28 minutes. I said, I think I'm going to run with him and then see how it goes. So I think we're like 5-6K into the race, and Johnny Mellor drops out of the race, just pulls off to the side, the guy I was following.
Oh, right, okay.
And then I look ahead of me, and the race is like gone. There's a gap to the runners ahead of me, and it's like once that gap's gone, it's like cycling. You're not going to get it back. You know?
Breakaway.
So then I just ended up running basically by myself, or leading the pack that I was with for the last 3-4K, which is always harder in running. Like, it's so much easier to draft off of somebody or share the work with somebody. So I was on pace for 28:22 through halfway through 5K, and I ended up running 28:47. So that's like my biggest regret in my career still, is like I should have listened to my coach. I should have like gone with the guy he told me to. And that's not to say I would have run that fast, but I think I could have run 28:30 that day easily. Yeah.
What's going through your head when you know like that pack ahead of you is getting a bit too far? It must be quite a tough.
Yeah, it is. And like when you're in the moment, it's like you don't necessarily think of it that way. You still believe, okay, just get your head down and you can catch them, or maybe one person's going to drop off that group and you can catch him and then move on to the next. But like I said, when you're at that level of competition, you give somebody 10 seconds, you're not going to get it back. Yeah.
And that drafting is so important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. It just allows you to get, like, that's why they have, in all the elite races, you'll see they have pacemakers now. So basically a person that they pay to run at the front of the race, set pace, so that everybody else behind him can just focus on getting into a rhythm and just not have to worry about who's going to lead, what pace am I going to run at. The pacemaker does it for them, basically. So you'll see that at like the Diamond League meets and stuff like that in athletics. You won't see it at the Olympics because it's not allowed. But
has it always not been allowed? I always remember a pacemaker. When I used to watch maybe not the Olympics, but I remember when I was younger that you'd always see a pacemaker. Maybe I'm just
because I don't know. I think of major championships has always been
fine
banned, I think. But at the other big races, like people try to go for world records. It's like you don't see that person just running from the gun on their own. They always have somebody in front of them setting the pace. Or now they have like timed lights on the side of the track, which is like even easier for people to follow.
All right,
but,
you mean like pace, you mean?
Yeah, so there's a green light basically alongside you, and this is where world record pace is. And if you stay with it, you know you're on world record pace. Yeah.
It's like the Kipchoge 2-hour marathon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, he had like an hour of people ahead of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and he had the car. Chevron. Yeah, and then a car with a light on the road.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that 2-hour marathon? What do you reckon?
Like the way he did it.
Yeah,
you still got to run a 2-hour marathon.
I get that.
It's insane.
90% of it on the sofa. You know what I mean?
like 90% of it is still him running 2 hours for a marathon.
Sorry,
But the way he did it, it's like you're almost never going to recreate that in like a race situation. You know?
No,
like it's cool that they do it, but it's almost like it should be considered separate from somebody running 2 hours or sub-2 in an actual marathon race. You know,
is he like a minute off that mark in like a legitimate competition?
Yeah, I think like his fastest marathon is like 2:01 in a race.
Right. Okay.
I think he's run 1:59. You know, so
it's amazing how that much help only gained an hour, a minute. Sorry,
yeah, that's all that distance.
I know, but like I said before, it's quite a lot in that sort of. You're saying about like your biggest regret was that Commonwealth. What was your like proudest moment in running?
It's funny because like it was that same race.
Oh, was it?
To me, like coming out at Hampden Park with 40,000 people in the stadium, and I loved having it in Scotland because I had family there, friends there, like everybody could come and watch it.
Yeah.
Like I think the Commonwealth Games afterwards were in Australia, and the ones before were in India. Which is, it's cool that you get to travel, but it's like you don't get the support of family and friends. So like the amount of people that were there, or like messages that I had, or like Abertown put like a showing on in the football club, you know, that was cool.
Awesome,
it was cool.
But it was only because like it was in Scotland that it enabled people to do that, and people to come up and watch and buy tickets and see. So like walking out and seeing 40,000 people with the Welsh vest on, that was surreal.
I bet.
And I think like a lot of people would be fazed by it, or maybe a little bit nervous. I was nervous a lot of times before a race, and I didn't think that was a bad thing, because I think it means like it just shows that it means something to you, you know, like you care about it. But that day I had absolutely no nerves whatsoever. It was just like trying to soak it all in and embrace it.
That's awesome.
Which I hadn't really felt like ever before in my career. But like saw my parents up in the stand, and like it was just like pride, and like it was just a cool feeling to know that you've got to that level, you know.
That's awesome.
One of my questions were, do you get nervous? So I'm guessing you do normally get nerves, but not particularly on that day.
Yeah,
but
like
normally would you get quite nervous?
Yeah, like I was worse when I was younger, like 16, 17, 18. I had a hard time with my nerves. Like I wouldn't sleep the night before. I ended up, like, I remember going to see a sports psychologist up at the university when I was still living in Aber at one point, just to try to get some like visualization techniques and stuff. The more experienced I got as an athlete, the less the nerves like got to me in that way. But you still always get like butterflies in your stomach and have a hard time eating something before the race. But again, to me, it's like that just shows that it means something. Like you care about it. You know?
Of course you do. But like I guess fueling is obviously very important as well. So
Yeah.
if you're finding it hard to eat and then fueling's so important before the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
What
And
about
like,
sorry?
Yeah. Go on.
Visualizing techniques, like for example.
So like night before, what the sports psychologist told me was night before the race when I'm struggling to sleep, try to like implement some breathing techniques and visualize how you want the race to go. And it wasn't necessarily like right before the race you do that. It was, for me, it was more going back to the night before because I was so anxious and I had a hard time falling asleep. It was at that point, like, how do you get yourself to fall asleep? How do you get yourself to relax and shut down a little bit? Yeah.
No, it's clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing how powerful the mind is.
And it worked. I think it worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Have you got any pre-race rituals? Lucky pants? Anything like that?
No, what I did, I still do it now, like to this day, left sock, then right sock, left shoe, then right shoe.
No way.
No matter
Weird
what.
how many people have got just a little something that they need to do.
And it wasn't just for racing, like I still do that every single day when I leave the house. But yeah,
No way.
that started when I was running. I remember doing it at some point. Yeah.
Or maybe you had a good result.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't remember a distinct point where it was like, I'm going to do this, but I know it was like correlated to running in some way. Yeah. Yeah.
What's like some of the best advice you've received from a coach, a running peer?
I see, I had a lot of good advice over the years. I mean, the anxiety and the stress side of it was big. Like when I was younger, that was a big part of it. Like learning how to control that. Because again, when you get to like the more elite level of competition, you could be as fit as you want physically, but if you don't have it mentally, like if you're not mentally prepared for the race, you can forget it. You might as well not. You might as well not step on the starting line. You know, and like it's funny because the role I do now, in terms of like job day to day, I work with a lot of high school runners and like elite runners. And the one thing, like the piece of advice, it's not necessarily something that I was told, but it's something that I've kind of learned over time in my career, is the little bits that go around the running are actually, to me, more important than the running itself. So you can go out the door and you can run like 50, 60 miles every week and just hammer the training. But if you haven't got your nutrition right and you're not getting good sleep and you're not supplementing and you're not stretching and you're not strength training, you're only going to get yourself to a certain point, you know? And so, like, to me, those little 1%ers are way more important than the actual running component themselves.
It's like the whole package.
Yeah, and that's, like, something more that I learned and, like, understood myself as opposed to, like, somebody telling me that. Now I'm trying to pass that on to people and runners that I work with day to day. And that part shouldn't be overlooked. And it's probably something that I overlooked when I was an athlete. You get home from a 10-mile run, so I don't want to stretch. I don't want to go to the weight room, you know? Like, I can't be bothered, you know?
Are you doing weights before you're doing your running? Or is it cardio first? Like, what are you doing?
What we would do is, on our hard session days, so most of the, like, training we did week to week was, like, zone 2, you know, like aerobic training. Yeah. So you're just going out and running 7, 8, 9, 10 miles at like, a conversational pace. But then set days, you do, like, track sessions or you do tempo sessions. And on those days, you would do the weight training afterwards too. Oof. So like New Mexico, we'd go and do 10-mile tempo run. So 10 miles at like 5-minute miles up at 5,000 feet, drive straight to the gym and do an hour of strength training afterwards. Because the philosophy was you make your hard days hard and then the recovery days are a recovery. You know?
What kind of weight training? Are we talking squats?
Yeah, like a lot of compound movements, yeah. So like back squats, front squats, lunges, a lot of running specific movements. And obviously running is sagittal plane, you know, like it's straight line pretty much, you know. There's no lateral movements, there's no twisting, there's no turning, so it's pretty easy to train in the weight room, but mostly like moderate load, not a lot of like high load, low rep. It was more like 8 to 12 rep stuff with moderate load. I'm
guessing all runners are doing this now. I'm guessing like did you start your strength training program in Wales when you were younger? Or is that something you adapted later on?
No, like that was something I added in when I was in Aber. I worked with Rich Martin, for a while.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't realize that. All right. Okay.
I think I did like 6, 7, 8 sessions with him one summer, and like so that was the first introduction to weight strength training that I had, and I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
And then obviously what happens when you get to university in America is it's all implemented for you. You just get told where to go and what to do, and that's it. You know, so there's no like thinking behind it.
That sounds quite good, really.
It's great, isn't it?
Like
Yeah.
just someone's like planning your day, planning your routines.
Yeah. That's like that to me. Like that's any athlete that goes out there on a scholarship to the US. It's the closest you're ever going to get if you don't make it to being a professional athlete.
I bet it is.
Because you get kit, you get flights paid for, you get room and board paid for,
Massage.
Yeah, massage. Yep, strength coaches, weight room. We had like anti-gravity treadmills. We had underwater treadmills. All this stuff that you'll never ever have access to if you're not part of that system.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I bet you feel pretty lucky to have gone through that process.
Yeah,
you know?
I do. Yeah.
Anti-gravity.
Yeah.
What?
So like, let's say, like I used it a couple of times coming back from a bone injury, stress fracture. I had a couple of stress fractures. So the idea is you take a certain amount of load off the bone, but you can still run. So I may be running on the treadmill at 30% of my body weight.
Wow.
You basically zip yourself into this inflatable unit. It lifts you up away from the treadmill. So you're only putting 30% of your body weight, you know, through that step then. Yeah.
It's keeping you running.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like a low impact way of running.
Exactly.
So instead of just going on the bike or something, you can still kind of run. I got a bit of a random question here. Beetroot juice. Right?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Does.
What?
It does. Are you taking it?
You know what, Colin, like your old man, he told me, because I did a half marathon Swansea. I'd never done one before. And I think Colin told me, he said, he goes, I remember Adam used to drink loads and loads of, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then I researched it. Apparently got something to do with nitrates or something.
Yeah.
But tell me about it.
Yeah, so I took it it was just one summer. I took it when I was down in Cardiff, when I was at Cardiff Met, and my coach told us that you should start taking this. So the whole group, like 4 or 5 of us, started taking it. I don't know if it's changed. Like, I don't know if it's like shot form now or what, but we used to have...
I've seen people in shot forms, yeah.
We used to have to buy from Holland and Barrett like a wine glass size of beetroot juice
like
and
a carafe.
drink that every day. One bottle every day.
What, really?
So I did that all summer for like 3 or 4 months. Every race I ran, PB. I'm not joking.
It's the nitrates,
every race I ran that year, I ran faster and faster and faster.
And what is a beetroot juice tonight?
But it's like, it's the nitrates. It's like somebody told me it boosts your stamina. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, I'll try. But it's the most rancid thing ever.
It's horrible.
I can't even describe the taste.
I had a glass, because I was speaking to your dad about it, and I had like one glass like a few days before the half. Didn't do it, obviously, it didn't drink anywhere near enough.
One little glass.
And I was thinking, like, this is shaving like 2 minutes off my time now. It was horrible. And then I found out you could get it in a shot form. And I was like, that's what I should have bought.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
should've
like,
just nicked a
I've
shot.
seen those. I've seen the shot
There's
things.
probably more research on it now, but like back in the day, my coach, he just like slapped this research article down. This is it. This is how much you've got to drink. So literally, we're out there in Holland and Barrett buying these glass bottles, drinking the whole thing every day. So I'm like peeing purple. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
Apparently not. I think it still does work. Not that I know a load about it, but I still see it on some like running videos or reels or something. So I think people do still take
I
beetroot
think so.
shots.
I know someone who's taken it when they did Manchester Marathon last year. He started taking it. It's helping his recovery and everything, you say.
Yeah.
Any other tips on like nutrients or vitamins that you recommend?
Like vitamin D is a big one, especially living here.
Oh yeah.
So like that's how I got my first stress fracture, was a vitamin D deficiency.
Was it?
And that was in the first like 6 months of me being in Albuquerque. So I increased my like training, my volume and stuff, and obviously my body just couldn't handle it. But coming from Wales, like more often than not, people are probably going to be vitamin D deficient unless you're taking the supplement.
Of course.
In winter particularly. I take it every winter.
Yeah.
So vitamin D and iron, those are big ones. Yeah. And then the big fad now is sodium bicarbonate.
Okay.
So a lot of the elite athletes are taking it. Like, I don't know how long it's going to be before it's clamped down on, or if it's made like illegal. I don't know.
Is that like in a pill form, or is it the gloopy?
What we used to do, like we used to do a little bit before 800s, was like you put it in water and mix it and then drink it. It's supposedly, it's like, what do you call it? Baking soda.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay.
So what does that do to your body?
You supposedly put it in water and it helps buffer or delay the onset of lactic acid.
Wow.
So we wouldn't take it before like the longer races, but for like an 800 where it's more lactate threshold, or you get into that threshold faster, we would take it. Yeah. But now a lot of the elite athletes are taking it consistently, and like I don't know. I mean, I don't see why they would ban it because it's just. But
so performance enhancing in any way. It's not like a steroid or
exactly.
anabolic or anything like that, is it?
But that's the new fad with all the elite athletes now, supposedly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe it works.
Try it on the next 5K.
I've got a question about injuries. So I've got I think I've got runner's knee. So every time I run, my knee hurts. But this doesn't have to be about your knee. It could be and maybe someone's listening, they got an injury. How do you deal with that? Do you stop running and just rest it or not?
No, like that's basically what I do day to day now. Is I do a lot of biomechanical assessments with runners. So trying to either prevent injury or deal with injury. Stopping running is almost never the answer. I'm telling people to stop running less and less and less.
Wow.
So even if it's runner's knee, for example, a lot of running injuries are overuse, which means you've done too much of something too soon and the body can't handle it. The body's not equipped to handle it. That doesn't mean you just completely back off and stop what you're doing. It just means you modify it, So let's say you go and running 3 times a week for half an hour and you start to get runner's knee. Maybe you go run twice a week for half an hour, or maybe you go run 3 times a week and you just do 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay.
More often than not, if you modify and you back off a little bit, it'll slowly subside and it'll slowly go away. But the reason I do the biomechanical stuff now is because I work with a lot of runners on pinpoint identifying either why they have injuries, what the injuries are, or how to prevent the onset of injuries. So I'll do a lot of 3D video breakdowns with people on the treadmill, and we'll say, okay, this is what your mechanics look like. Your hip does this, your knee does this, your foot does this. If this continues, you're going to run into X, Y, Z problems, or they come in with knee pain, we put them on the treadmill and we see exactly what's causing it, and then we can fix and address it, But if it's generic overuse stuff, knees, hips, ankles, more often than not, if you modify as opposed to just stopping completely, it'll subside most of the time. Yeah.
So you recommend a bit of strength training as well? Is it?
Yeah, that's
I don't
the thing.
do any strength training in terms of my legs. I do a little bit of running. So should I adopt a little bit of strength training?
Yeah, and it's not even it's not necessarily go to the gym and start lifting, But it's if you have knee pain and you've started running recently, it's maybe 2 or 3 more specific quad strength exercises,
Right, quad. Okay.
So you almost have to pinpoint, and the way I see it with the strength training is you're basically giving that area or that tissue more capacity to tolerate the load that you're trying to put it through. So again, it's if you're trying to run 3 times a week, you have some knee issues. If you stop completely, the first thing that's going to happen when you start running again is the pain's going to come back, as opposed to if you modify and do a few strength exercises for that area while you modify the activity, then you're increasing that area's capacity to actually withstand and tolerate what you're putting it through, and then the pain goes away more often than not. Yeah,
because talking about modifying, I used to suffer really badly with shin splints, and it wasn't until I started cycling and built the muscles up around they went.
Yeah.
So it's just it just needed something around it to help it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's cool. I've been doing the work that I do now for about 3 or 4 or 5 years, but somebody will come in and say shin splints. First thing I do is look at foot and ankle mechanics, because more often than not they overpronate or they collapse at the foot.
Yeah, that's kind of I'm doing that.
Yeah. So now it's cool because people come in with I've got this, and it's okay, first thing I'm going to look at is when you run, what happens with this. More often than not, you pinpoint the answer, but a lot of it is just modifying and not necessarily just stop doing it completely. Because it's hard, runners especially, we're a crazy gang, the last thing we want to be told is stop running. Because running's one of those things for a lot of people where it's they do it because it gives them that runner's high or that adrenaline rush, or you get to clear your mind.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
So if I'm telling you, you got to stop running for 3 or 4 weeks, it's not only is that not helping you physically, but it may be having an impact on you elsewhere as well.
I'm finding it frustrating already. Not that I run absolutely loads, but I've got to enjoy it as I've run more. I'm sure everybody does that. You get a little bit fitter, you can start to enjoy it then, kind of. And it's just a little bit frustrating that every sort of run I go on, my knee starts to hurt, say 3K in. I'm again,
Yeah. So then maybe that's your threshold. So maybe you run 2 or 3K just for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then you try and increase it a little bit, and then more often than not, the pain will go away. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a family out in Albuquerque, New Mexico now?
Got let's see. When I left, 2015 was when I left the University of New Mexico. And then I kind of bounced back and forth. So I went to a P1 visa, professional athlete visa.
Yep.
So I was like sponsored by Saucony, the shoe brand, for about 2 years. And it's like, it sounds more glamorous than it was. It was basically, they give you like kit and shoes to compete in.
Oh, yeah.
And the rest of it,
Still pretty good getting some freebies though, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So.
But it's like, well, you got to fly yourself to this race and you got to try to win some prize money, and that's what's going to tide you over, you know? So, and then met my wife in 2018, I think it was. So then we got married 2020. Now we got 2 kids. Yeah. Boy and a girl. Yeah.
How are you finding it being a dad?
I love it, but it's like the hardest thing too. Yeah.
It's no joke, is it?
It's funny, like I go through a roller coaster every day, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the second the kids are not there, like if we have a night where we're without the kids, you're thinking about them immediately, you know?
Yeah.
But there's times when they're with you for that long, it's like, oh man, like,
Need to go out and go for a run.
Yeah. Everyone's going through the same stuff. It's it's the best job, but the hardest job.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. The best and the hardest job that you'll ever do.
Yeah.
Any advice for any sort of young runners who are got a bit of talent? What advice would you give them?
It's going back to like find a balance. So running is one of the sports where you can almost like develop an unhealthy obsession with it if you're not careful. So make sure that you still enjoy running for what it is. Don't get caught up too young, too soon in the competitive side of it. Because again, I don't think I did, because I played football alongside running for so long. I don't think I like dived straight into being a runner at an early age. You see that a lot in the US, where people specialize in sports when they're like 8, 9, 10, you know, get to 18, they're completely burned out.
I bet. Yeah.
So it's just like, you start or you get into running for a reason, whether it's like parents push you into it or you enjoy doing it. Never lose that. That's the big thing, is like make sure you still enjoy it for what it is, even if you start to develop or take it a little bit more seriously. Like never lose the true love and the true reason that you do it. Yeah. Because like I still go for runs now, and I'm almost like back to running where I was when I was 12, 13, you know, where it's like I would just go for a run because I enjoyed doing it. And then for those like 10, 15 years, I took it seriously and I was in that like elite mentality, and I kind of forgot why, you know, not necessarily why I did it, but you get so zoned in on, I'm a runner, I'm competitive, I'm trying to be the best runner I can. Now I'm like recreational runner again. I'm doing it because I enjoy going out there for a run. It clears my head, you know? So
yeah.
It's just like never lose that true love or that like reason that you started doing it, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good advice.
You listen to any music when you're running, or you headphone
Not
free?
anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore, no. Like I said, now I use it for like peace of mind almost, you know? I used to love listening to music when I ran, but now, I just like the quiet, honestly. Yeah.
It's a good reset.
Yeah. And obviously like our schedule's crazy day to day, so if I go run, obviously 2 kids, it's like 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
It's pitch black.
Yeah.
But like I enjoy that like quiet, you know? It's like I said, it's just like that's where it's my time to, and it's, people always ask what you think about when you run. I haven't got a clue. Like when I'm out there, I'm thinking about a lot of things, but I come back after half an hour, I couldn't tell you what went through my head.
Yeah.
Like I've just drifted, I've gone, you know, and that's why I like it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But like back to my like racing days, big like house dance music. No matter what like time of day it was or what mood I was in, that was it.
That
was the one.
That was the
house
genre.
music.
Yeah, like Swedish House Mafia, Tiesto, Avicii. Yeah,
Cool.
pre-race. Yeah.
I bet the beat, what they call it, beats per minute. Well, I bet that's like good for running, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know, like
exactly.
a good tempo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. I've
Happy to roll into quick fire questions.
have you got a favourite film, Dad?
I like. I'm not a big film watcher, honestly. I'd rather watch series, but I like based on true story. So like Catch Me If You Can. Like Catch Me If You Can.
Hell of a true story.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What a life.
He winged it big time, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Printing those like checks and stuff.
Yeah.
And then like,
He's an airline pilot.
Yeah.
Flew a plane.
it's insane.
Is this based on a true story?
How loosely is it?
Yeah.
You mentioned series, but what's your favourite series then?
I love Breaking Bad. It sounds so cliche because I live in
love it as well.
Albuquerque, but like it's epic.
It took me a couple of times to get into it, you know,
Yeah.
and then 3rd or 4th episode into the first series, I thought, I'm in, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, Jesse?
Yeah.
He was only supposed to be in the first season, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And they were supposed to bin him off.
Yeah.
So many cool things. I think I've seen it probably 5 times
Yeah.
all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's like I found it like almost comforting. I could go back to it tonight
Yeah.
and I could start it again, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
what it is
incredible.
about it.
Yeah.
My missus finds it too like I don't think there's enough like happy endings of the episodes.
See, that's how my wife is.
She doesn't like, but I don't mind that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I love it. What is your favourite cereal?
Crunchy Nut.
Crunchy Nut cornflakes?
Yeah, but it's got to be like I went to a wedding last week and I poured myself a bowl of Crunchy Nut and then I went and spoke to somebody for 10 minutes and I came back and it was soggy. Now, that is like worst case scenario. So Crunchy Nut, but it's got to be sharp. It's got to be off
fresh cold milk, crunchy.
Because as soon as it goes soggy, forget
awful.
it. Yeah,
no,
forget it.
You got a favourite takeaway or anything? What's your go-to? You got a vice?
We eat a lot of New Mexican food in Albuquerque. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that like
burritos?
Tex-Mex style?
Burritos, tacos, fajitas. Yeah.
Spicy?
Yeah. Green chili. So Albuquerque's like green chili central. So green chili on everything.
No way.
Potatoes, omelets, burritos, pizza.
Is that like jalapenos?
Oh, on pizza, yeah.
Different type of spice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What,
hotter.
Oh, I don't think I'd be into that.
Now, it gets to a point where it's like if it's hot and I can't taste the food anymore, like to me, what's the point?
Yeah.
But I couldn't handle it at all when I first moved out there. Now I like it. So like pizza, pepperoni, and green chili.
So you've upped your tolerance up. You're over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you kind of can't get away from it.
Yeah.
It's like everywhere you go, it's on it, or it's like you have to have
no
it.
choice.
And that's like the Mexican influence of the area, is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
I love a breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
When I was in the States a few times, I just love a breakfast burrito.
Never had one.
Yeah. Oh, they're immense.
I know someone who put on quite a lot of weight when I was in America through burritos.
I think a lot.
There's a burrito shop at the bottom of his offices.
You've getting pretty.
I was going to say I've done well for.
I'll tell you who it was. It was my sister's partner, and he was working in America, and there was a burrito shop at the bottom of his offices, and she hadn't seen him for a couple of months. He came to see her off the airplane. She burst out laughing. He put on 4 stone or something in 3 months. Have you got a chocolate bar? Favourite chocolate bar? Right?
Yorkie.
Well, that's a classic.
The burgundy one. Is it just the blue one?
Blue. Yeah. So like
just the blue.
Lunchtimes Penwethig. That's why I love it still. Is Bell would go. We would just get outside to play Wembley doubles. So as soon as the bell went, Wembley doubles for an hour. When the school bell went to go back in, run to the leisure centre, Yorkie bar for lunch, and then off you go. And I'd go out and train in the night after that. Now I think back, I'm like, I was an absolute lunatic. But Yorkie bar for lunch, and then off you go.
I remember that machine. Was it the machine in the leisure centre?
Yeah.
I remember that. Get Pepsi Max.
Nice and spicy knickknacks.
Yeah. Poppets.
Yeah.
Oh, mint poppets.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm happy.
Pretty good.
Happy.
Happy.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thanks so much
for having me.